Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? This is what happened to me when I was on my honeymoon. My husband, the man that I had recently gotten married to, he then transformed and became a snake, a python. And not only did he become a snake, he was vomiting money. At that time when I saw him, he was in the bathroom when he was busy vomiting money. And this is my story. Brother Nashi, how are you? I am wishing you a Merry Xmas, and I have come here with my own confession that I only told this other friend of mine, whom I will call Tandy. I told her because he was supposed to know, because he was the one who got me involved with this guy. In order for me to get married to this rich man, it was because of Tandy. He had told me that this man had been looking for an honest woman, the woman that he wanted to marry, and when he had told her about this, that was when she thought of me, because already at that time I was looking for a man that was serious about love. As for my name, you call me Evelyn. I am a woman that is aged 42 years old, and my husband, he passed away 6 months after we had returned back from our honeymoon. As for my husband, he died the day when he failed to fulfill the rules of his covenant. From the day that my husband died to this very day, I have failed to sleep with a man or to date any man. As for my children, they are aged 17 years now, and as for my husband, he died when I was pregnant and I was carrying twins by the time that he passed away. I try to move on with my life, to look for love again, but I can't. I used to date this other guy. He was a nephew to a well-known man that is called Jimmy Jimalo, and he passed away the day that we tried to sleep together at this other lodge. We had been dating for a couple of months. He wanted me to sleep with him, but I was not yet sure, for I was still mourning for my husband, for I loved him even though he was a ritualist. He then told me to meet up with him when I thought that now it was time for us to get to know each other even more. Then we went to this other beautiful lodge that is found in a location that is called Highfields. When we were there, we started doing romance. We undressed each other. It was so amazing. The moment that his manhood came into contact with my private part, he got off from the bed. He was screaming, and I asked him what was wrong. When I looked at his manhood, it was so horrifying to look at. It was as if there was someone that had poured boiling water on his manhood. And from there on, this man, he became so sick. On that very same night when this happened, we went to this other doctor, a friend of his, and he was given some medication. He then went to a traditional healer in secret, for he did not want people to know that this was what had happened to him. He had been sleeping with a woman that had a rukao, in bracket. It is a central locking system that a husband can put on his wife so that she will never be able to cheat on him. So he was afraid that people, if they know this, maybe they were going to judge him. He started to go to different traditional healers in secret, and he came back to me and he told me that in order for his manhood to return back to normal, and that is what he wanted. And by the time that we broke up, that was when he had came to my house one day. He came to my house and he was holding a wooden drum, and he said that he had been told by that traditional healer that he was supposed to beat that wooden drum until there will be someone that would have died from his family. Then it meant that he was going to be cured. This wooden drum, it was full of blood, and I said, I do not want to be part of that, and we broke up. When I met Dumisani, as I told you, Me and Dumisani, we then started dating. But as for Tandi, she did not want to tell me what exactly had happened to the previous wife. All that I had heard was that she died because she had been stung by a bee. Just before Dumisani had passed away, he told me everything that had happened to his wife. So what happened to the wife was that she was also from Bulawayo. She was a Ndebele speaking woman. So was Dumisani. But as for Dumisani, even though he was a Ndebele speaking man, he had been staying in Harare with his parents for a very long time because they ran away from Bulawayo because of all of these rituals that they were doing. So when the parents passed away, he was then given a rule to maintain the wealth that he had. In order for him to keep the wealth that they had, was that he was supposed to go and collect soil from his father's grave, and this soil that was going to be collected from his father's grave, it was supposed to be sprinkled at all of his relatives' house without them ever knowing that this was the ritual that he was performing. He then told me that he was unable to perform that ritual alone. That was when he thought of going to visit his father's and his mother's relatives and to tell them to find a woman for him so that he can marry amongst his people. They accepted him into the family, not knowing that he had came there with a mission to finish almost everyone in that family. After they had found him a very good woman, whom I will call Amanda. Amanda was the wife to Dumisani, and she died after she had been stung by a bee. So he used to send Amanda back to Bulawayo with some soil that he had taken from his father's grave, just like what he had been told by his father. What he used to do, he told me that he would take some rocks and he will make a big fire until those rocks will be so hot, and then he would take a metal sheet, place them on top of those rocks, and then he will put the soil that he would have taken from his father's grave so that he can roast the soil, and then he will give it to his wife. And this is what he would tell his wife. He will say to his wife, as you can see, I am running all of these businesses and I am living amongst the Mashona people, and they hate me because I am a Ndebele speaking businessman. So some of the contracts that I get, they want me to lose those contracts. But if you go with this soil and you leave it there in Bulawayo, then you take some soil from Bulawayo, we are going to use it here in Harare so that we can maintain our business and our contracts. As for Amanda, she was innocent. She did not even know anything. So she would go to Bulawayo with the soil and she will move from one house to the other, which was the house that belonged to Dumisani's relatives, and she would leave the soil without them ever noticing that this is what she used to do. When she would come back, Dumisani said that he would tell her to pick up some soil from Bulawayo and return back with the soil back to Harare, but he would just throw away the soil because it was just useless to him. Dumisani told me that the purpose of this ritual was to protect him because of what his father had done. His father, my father-in-law, he had stolen some of the items that were being used by his own father, Dumisani's grandfather. He used to be a sangoma, and whenever he would help people to bewitch their enemies, then he would send his bees. And if a bee will come to attack you, if you will beat it, then you will see that after it would have died, 5 more will come from where it would have died, until there will be thousands and thousands of them, and they will bite you until you die. When all of this was happening, Amanda had no idea as to what she was getting herself involved in. Dumisani told me that people started to die a lot in the family, and then they went and they did a go back to sender. And one day when Amanda was going to Bulawayo, that was when she was stung by a bee, and then a lot of bees kept on coming into her car and they kept on biting her until she died. She was found, her car, it was parked by the side of the road, and she was no longer alive. She had been beaten to death by bees. And in order for Dumisani to tell me all of these things, he just did not tell me because he wanted to, but he was sick, and also the things that I witnessed when we were at the honeymoon. When we arrived at the hotel where we were staying, it was so amazing. The love that he gave to me, I could not even imagine. Then by the third day, that was when he changed. He was very rude towards me. He never wanted to talk to me, and I could not understand what is it that had gone wrong between me and Dumisani. I was even asking myself if I did not taste sweet for him whenever we were making love, because the way that he was rude, it was so painful. He did not want to sleep facing me or holding me. He would sleep on the floor. There were days when he would wake up, go outside for a very long time, and when he would come back, he would be smelling a lot of herbs. If you would ask him anything, the way that he would respond to you, it was so painful. Then the night when it happened, I woke up, and then I heard that there was a sound as if there was someone that was vomiting in the bathroom. I went there because of the sound. The sound, it was not as if it was a human being. It was as if it was an animal, because I could hear a sound like in the bathroom. So I went there. When I opened, brother, I then switched on the light. When I looked at what I was looking at, I had never even imagined myself looking at such an evil thing ever since I had gotten married to him. As for Dumisani, he was no longer that Dumisani, the man that I had gotten married to. I saw something that I was never supposed to see in my entire life. The moment that I switched on the light, that was when I saw that Dumisani was no longer human, but he was a snake, a python, and he was busy vomiting money. It was US dollars that was in the bathtub, that was on the floor, everywhere. I could not even find a place to step my foot on because of the money that was just flowing out of his mouth. I wanted to scream, but I could not scream. It was as if there was someone that was holding my voice. After about a minute or so, that was when I saw the snake getting smaller and smaller. Then suddenly, it was Dumisani again. He was not even panicking that I had seen such a demonic thing happening in front of me. He just got up, and then he went and he sat on the bed. He looked at me as I was walking into the bedroom again, and I was shaking. My knees were so weak because of what I had seen. That was when he said to me, "Welcome to the family." And he then went to bed. The next day, that was when he woke up and he started picking up the money, and he said, "You cannot divorce me," after I had told him that I could not take this anymore. I wanted a divorce. And he said, "If you try to divorce me, what is going to happen to you is that you are going to die. Therefore, you can't divorce me." We then returned back to Zim. We started staying, but then Dumisani got so sick. He then told me that I was pregnant. He even prophesied that the pregnancy that I had, I was carrying twins. And he said that the children that you are carrying, I want you to choose one. The one that you are going to choose when you would have given birth, here, take this. He was giving me a small stick, and he said that I want you to keep it. And when you have given birth, I want you to choose one amongst the children that you would have given birth to, and then you make the child to hold this stick. And he passed away after that, and I did exactly as Dumisani had instructed me to do, because I was scared that something was going to happen to my child. I gave birth at a private clinic. When they gave me my children, the last born one was the one that I chose, and I did as I had been instructed to do. I then opened up his tiny hands, and I put that wooden stick in his tiny hands, and then the stick just disappeared when I did this. So my child do the same thing that I saw his father doing when we were at our honeymoon. My child would change into a snake and my child will start to vomit money. When they were still very young, I really did not care because I started to use that money to upgrade myself, to start my own businesses so that I can become an independent woman. But now my children, they are all grown up and I want to release my children from this curse. Not only the children that I gave birth to, but Dumisani and Amanda, they also had their own child who is my stepdaughter. And when I look at her, I feel so sorry because of the things that are happening in her life. Her husband does not want her anymore. I am staying with her as I am speaking with you. She is living under a terrible curse. I am scared to tell anyone because when I told Tandi about this, she said, if you tell people that this is what is happening, no one is going to believe you. People are going to say that you are the wicked witch who laid Dumisani into these money rituals. So she told me not to tell anyone, in which this makes me to be even more scared because of this. I even tried to go and speak with Dumisani's uncle after he had passed away. So they stay in an area that is called Esigodini. I went there and I could not get hold of them because they were giving me a cold shoulder. So I saw that it was no use for me to tell them that their nephew was a ritualist. So I returned back to Harare and I am now facing this spiritual warfare alone. As for me, I have a lot of things that are on my mind, so much that I do not know if I can survive this. I even went to Dumisani's grave and I told him that he needs to release me from this curse as well, because I also want to live my life again. I want to find love again and to raise my children without them living under this curse. But even though I went to his grave, nothing changed. He did not even talk to me. There is nothing that happened. So the only wish that I have is that I wish that God is going to assist me so that I can be able to release my children from this curse. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with them in the comment section.